To Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky for today's Southeast Regional Final between the Virginia Cavaliers and the Michigan Wolverines. Now, let's meet the starting lineups. For Virginia, at forward, a 6'5" freshman from Freeman, Virginia, number 20, Bryant Stiff. For Michigan, at forward, a 6'9" senior from Grand Rapids, Michigan, number 35, Lloyd Vaught. For Virginia, at forward, a 6'7" sophomore from Millmont Park, Pennsylvania, number 30, Matt London. For Michigan, at forward, a 6'7" senior from Flint, Michigan, number 41, Glenn Rice. For Virginia, at center, a 6'9" junior from Hicksville, New York, number 32, Brent Dabbs. For Michigan, at center, a 6'10" junior from Romulus, Michigan, number 52, Terry Mills. For Virginia, at guard, a 6'3" senior from Salem, Virginia, number 11, Richard Morgan. For Michigan, at guard, a 6'7" senior from Rosemont, Illinois, number 20, Mike Griffin. For Virginia, at guard, a 6'1" sophomore from Spring Lake, New Jersey, number 22, John Crotty. For Michigan, at guard, a 6'2" junior from Cambridge, Massachusetts, number 21, Rumil Robinson. And introducing the head coaches for Virginia in his 15th season, Terry Holland, and for Michigan, head coach Steve Fisher.
The last time Michigan reached the final was 1977 here in Lexington. The last time the finals were in Seattle, Virginia was there in the Final Four. Those first two wins and then 25 points against Oklahoma. That's how Virginia got here. Take a look at the University of Michigan. Michigan with a big win Thursday night against North Carolina. The officials, Mickey Crowley and Jim Burr from the Big East. Frank Fasone of the SEC. And UVA has the tap. This is Morgan. More than 22,000 in Rupp Arena. Michigan in white playing man-to-man defense. Morgan fires. And loses it to Michigan. The Wolverines are 27-7. That one is for two.
Michigan recognized court. They're going to go to Rice and all the other guys right away.
Inside of the freshman, he kicks it back out front. This is Crotty. Crotty is fouled and scores. And the foul will be on Robinson, his first, the team first.
And Tim, John Crotty is the floor leader for Virginia. He's done a heck of a job in controlling the tempo, particularly in the Oklahoma game. Virginia's not normally a 100-point scoring team, but Crotty's done an excellent job. And in the first two games in the NCAA tournament, he has really gone outside of himself as an offensive player, been more offensive-minded, and that's probably led to his effectiveness as a floor leader.
Crotty is a 6'1" sophomore. High school All-American, player of the year out of New Jersey. And Virginia has a 1-point lead. Turnover number 1 for the Wolverines. Tough pass by Morgan. Crotty saves it. This is Rice. Man-to-man defense by the Cavaliers. Rice will fire from there and hit it.
Now, Richard Morgan knows that he can't stay that far away from Glenn Rice. Glenn Rice gets it going as early as he has. He's going to be difficult all afternoon to stop.
Try to set up the screen. Morgan pops out top. The freshman will fire for two.
Basket by Stiff.
Last time Michigan had the ball, Virginia put on some full court pressure. They were a little shaky.
Rice for two more. He's 3 for 3 from the field. Morgan on the baseline. And Blunden has the rebound. Possession arrow belongs to Michigan.
Matt Blunden doing an excellent job on the offensive boards. That was one of the keys in Virginia's victory against Oklahoma. Michigan has got to block off because, surprisingly, Blunden and Dabbs, who aren't great leapers, and Stiff as well, they all get great offensive rebounding position. They've got to be watched.
It's hard to believe that Glenn Rice was recruited by only 3 schools: Iowa State, Central Michigan, and the Wolverines of Michigan. Mills with the turnaround. This is to Stiff. Dabbs with a short jumper. Can't get it to go. Fight for the rebound. Wolverines.
And you can see in that play, Vaught did a nice job of stealing Dabbs off the board.
It's a 3-point Michigan lead, and this foul will be against Stiff.
Now, Virginia's very cognizant of the inside game of Michigan. That time, Brian Stiff, guarding Mike Griffin in the corner, stepped way over to try to help out and cause the foul.
That's the first on Stiff, and the first team foul against the Cavaliers. 17-11 remaining in the first half. Tim Brandt and Len Elmore at Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. The winner of this game moves on to the Final Four. London almost lost it out of bounds. Last touch by Michigan. Trotty will fire. This is for 2. Rebound Rice. Mills with the turnaround on the baseline. First miss for Michigan.
There's an inside height advantage again. Vaught doing a nice job. He kept moving and got on the boards.
The Wolverines, a very physical club. Much bigger than the Cavaliers of Virginia. Robinson can't get his shot to go in. Dabbs with a rebound for Virginia. It's a 3-point Michigan lead.
Virginia's strength again, Tim, is in controlling the tempo of the game. They want to play a moderate game because they know they've got good execution offensively, and that's what John Crowdy's done. He's reset the offense.
This is Morgan with the turnaround, and the foul will be against the Cavaliers. Offensive foul, and it's on Dabbs. That's his first. Second team foul. Steve Fisher took over for Bill Frieder last week when Frieder announced he was going to Arizona State. And Fisher is 3-0 as a head coach. He turned 44 years of age yesterday. This is Rice for 3.
The man is unconscious, Tim. I mean, he's pulling up from anywhere and just going straight up. Tremendous spring in motion by Glenn Rice.
He's 4 for 4 from 3-point range. And Crotty's fouled by Robinson. That's his second.
And what Glenn Rice is the beneficiary of is good unselfish play. Mike Griffin gets the ball inside, knowing he's not a post player. He's looking for Glenn Rice all the way, and the result of that 2-man play is a basket. Michigan knows where to get the ball to, whom to get the ball to, in places where they can use it. And with Glenn Rice, that's any place on the court.
Sean Higgins comes back in for Michigan, and Rice will have his first break. It's Mills, Falk, Griffin. Caleb is in now as well for Michigan.
Well, right now, these two guys, Ramil Robinson and Glenn Rice, are a big part of the offense of Michigan. Steve Fisher wants to give them a breather. In a game like this, it heightens the anxiety. Maybe the blood level is up and the breathing levels are up. Let them get their breath and come back out and remain effective.
Vaught's shot won't go. Rebound Higgins. Turn around, and he scores.
Sean Higgins, a smooth outside perimeter shooter at 6'9". You don't lose an awful lot with him in the game when he replaces Glenn Rice.
Michigan's on a 9-0 run over the last 3 minutes. And the foul will be against Mills down low, pushing Dabbs. 14:41 remaining in the first half. It's 13-5 Michigan. Missed their last 4 shots. Michigan, on the other hand, is 60% from the field.
Well, you take a look at this graphic, and it shows you Michigan's reliance on their inside game. Now, in this particular game, the front court scoring, Michigan has outscored the front court of Virginia 13-2. Now, Morgan and Crotty for Virginia, they've got to get it going in order for Virginia to really get back into this ball game.
The Wolverines are on a 9-0 run over the last 3 minutes. Virginia needs a bucket badly. This is the guy that can get it. That's Morgan. Crotty will reset the offense. Shot clock really not a factor in this game thus far. Morgan way out front. Shot clock is at 25, and Crotty will take it into the paint and give it back up to Blunden. Down to Stiff.
We talked about Brian Stiff getting good inside position at 6'5". That's necessary for him, and he does it well.
Virginia showing a lot of patience, though.
Well, they didn't get to this point, Tim, by being a panicky squad. They recognized many times they were outmanned, but it has been their patience that's really kept them in ball games and put them in a position to win.
Higgins' shot was for 2. Morgan is really being roughed up by Griffin and Caleb, and Rice is about to come back in for Michigan. Castro comes in for Virginia. So Vaught will sit down, and Morgan for Virginia will get his first break.
And for Michigan right now, they've really got only one natural post player, and that's Mark Hughes. But they feel they have the luxury of being able to play like that simply because they have the height advantage over Virginia inside.
Morgan sits down. He's 0 for 2 from the field for Virginia. Castro. Back outside to Crotty, and they'll call the offense.
Richard Morgan is 0 for 2 right now. Only 2 shots. He really hasn't had an opportunity to get into the offense.
The foul is called against Mike Griffin. That's his first, and the 4th team foul against the Wolverines. Still not in the bonus situation. 13:20 remaining in the first half. Tim Brandt and Len Elmore with you. We'll put the first team into the Final Four this afternoon. This is Castro. His shot off the back of the iron. Dabbs with the follow. Can't get it to drop. Higgins. Yes, for 3.
And where Glenn Rice leaves off, Sean Higgins picks up.
Higgins is 3 for 3. 7 points.
In Virginia, in running their offense right now, they're not really looking at their post people. Matt Blunden and Brent Dabbs both posted up nicely inside, but they were never given a look.
Blunden, Castro's open and fires for 3 and hits.
Well, Dirk Castro is quite a story. He's been a reserve guard most of the year, but he had been playing well in practice. Terry Howard figured he'd give him a chance.
Rice. That was for 3. Nice pass to Blunden. And he banks it in.
That's what Virginia has to do. While they rely on their perimeter game, they've got to have their inside people make themselves a threat.
But how do they stop Rice? He's got 12 points already. Correction, make it 15. Rice hadn't missed yet. Castro. Dabbs with the rebound. The Michigan people on their feet. What a performance thus far by Glenn Rice. Crotty can't get to the baseline, so they bring it back up front. This is the freshman Stiff. And the foul is going to be on Caleb of Michigan.
Well, Demetrius Caleb is really hounding John Crotty, knowing that he's the most integral part of this Virginia offense. Crotty is a playmaker. When he gives the ball up, Caleb knows that he doesn't want him to get it back because that throws a monkey wrench into the Virginia offense.
Lloyd Vault replaces Griffin for Michigan, and Morgan comes back in, and Katzker will sit down. Robinson has 2 quick fouls for Michigan, so Caleb came in, and he picked up his first. London throws it away.
Tim, a moment ago you asked how you stop Glenn Rice. I really look now for Virginia maybe to put Brian Stith on Glenn Rice, because he may be the only one with the mobility on the front line to guard him. Matt Blunden just can't stay with Glenn Rice because he's too quick.
Terry Holland will sit Matt Blunden down after throwing the ball away. Jeff Daniel comes in to replace him. Stith knocks it out of bounds. Michigan will have the basketball.
Well, it seems right now that Virginia, at least on that last possession, has gone to a box and one, where 4 players play the box of the free throw lane, and 1 player stays with the hot shooter, and it seems as though Richard Morgan is going to guard Glenn Rice, while the rest of the team plays the zone in that what we call box and one.
With the ball, he's joined by Higgins, Hughes, Rice, and Vaught on the floor for the Wolverines.
We see Richard Morgan under the basket, shadowing Glenn Rice.
This is Rice. Tough shot. And a foul away from the basketball underneath. It'll be against Michigan.
Now, Tim, I believe that Michigan had a difficult time in recognizing the defense here. You see the zone played by Dabbs and Jeff Daniel. Here's Richard Morgan. He's following Rice wherever he goes. Wherever Rice receives the ball in that perimeter area, he's going to have at least 2 guys on him. And in the last 2 games, that's probably the first forced shot I've seen Glenn Rice take.
The foul was on Vaught. That is his first, the 6th team foul against Michigan. Crotty to Daniel and back to Stith. If Morgan has to work that hard defensively on Rice, though, it may take him out of his offense.
That's a good point. That's usually how you work on good offensive players, make them work on the other end.
Morgan not even close with his shot. The outlet pass to Robinson, and the Wolverines are running. Big rebound by Daniel, and he loses it out of bounds.
And that was a good shot by Renil Robinson. We mentioned at the top of the show, he's got to continue to make good decisions. Nobody challenged him as he came down, and he pulled up where he should to take the jump shot. He just misfired.
Richard Morgan is 0 for 3 from the field, and he's working hard defensively on Rice. Dabbs with a rebound. Crotty to Daniel. And again, Michigan gets back defensively very quickly. Morgan forces this shot, and that one's off to the left, caught with a rebound.
Sean Higgins at 6'9" is a formidable defensive player for Richard Morgan. It's difficult to shoot over.
Morgan with the steal. Morgan looks a little bit winded.
Well, he's worked awfully hard.
Crotty with a tough shot down the lane. Cuts the lead to 10. 9:20 remaining in the first half. The Wolverines with a big lead, 24-14.
Michigan right now looking to get the ball inside.
Mills with the turnaround. Rebound Dabbs of Virginia. Numbers aren't there for Crotty. This is Morgan, uncontested for 3. Still not close.
Well, Richard Morgan is a type of player that sometimes he gets out of sync, and when he does, he has a tendency to throw up too many shots, run out of the Virginia offense, and that hurts him. He's got to realize he's got other abilities that can help his team, like defense, like rebounding. He's got to get some easy shots now.
He's 0 for 5 from the field. But one thing about Morgan, he won't stop shooting.
But he's got to be able to take some of the easy shots, get out on the fast break, do some offensive rebounding. You get some easy basket. That takes the pressure off you when you shoot the jump shot.
Crotty with the rebound. Good penetration, and he's fouled. The bucket's good.
This is twice in a row that John Crotty has seen an opening. He's got what they call a broken floor when the defense is not back and able to set up. And John Crotty's a master at picking the openings. He drove right by some of the taller but slower players for a nice layup.
The foul was on Vaught. That's his second. And Michigan now is over the limits. Crotty is at the line trying to complete. Down.
Well, I tell you, the Big East prestige, along with the Atlantic Coast Conference and the Big Ten, is on the line in the next 2 days.
Whistle away from the basketball. Virginia is on a 5-0 run over the last 4 minutes. And since Michigan took its biggest lead at 24-12, the Wolverines really have not shown much patience offensively.
You see a shot at Terry Holland right now. He's trying to work the official, saying it may be a bit too rough inside. And he also wants his team kind of to settle down a bit. It's a long ball game.
This is Robinson's shot, won't go. The foul was on Castro, and it's Dabbs with the rebound. Back to Crotty. .7:35 remaining in the half. 25 on the shot clock. Castro for 3. Vaught with another rebound for Michigan. Inside, and Crotty pulls the rebound. Virginia's shot 58% throughout this tournament. Right now, they're ice cold. This is Castro. His shot is short. Turner with the rebound, and the foul will be against Vaught. That'll be his third.
Well, with Dirk Castro inside, it seems as though he's the designated shooter for Virginia. He's playing the position Richard Morgan plays, and Morgan is cold, and Terry Holland still wants that position to fire up the ball, to be a threat. And they've been running a lot of offense with Dirk Castro. Him being a reserve guard, it's difficult for him maybe to get involved in this type of offense. It's a new ball game for him.
Just to tell you one more time, Virginia shot 58% from the field, 70% from three-point range, and 83% from the free throw line throughout the tournament. Right now, the Cavaliers are 7 for 20 from the field. Kenny Turner's had several knee operations. His latest surgery was in October, and he misses the free throw. Robinson with great penetration.
Again, another good job by Ramil Robinson in recognizing the defense. One defender had his back turned, and he just ran up his back to the basket.
It's a 9-point Wolverine lead. Turner hesitated on his shot. Crotty will go ahead and fire. This foul will be on Daniel. That's his first.
Now, one of the keys to Michigan's running game are the decisions made by Ramil Robinson. Here he takes the ball. You see the defender, Kenny Turner, turn his back. Ramil Robinson takes the lane, runs right up his back, and scores. There's no help side there.
6 minutes, 35 seconds remain in the first half. The Southeast Final at Rupp Arena. Wolverines lead by 9. Rice has 15 points. Shot clock is at 15, and this is Rice. Yes.
Basket by Rice.
Well, Virginia's tried Richard Morgan. They've tried Matt Blunden, and now Kenny Turner. And no one seems to have the key to Glenn Rice.
Robinson with the steal. Here come the Wolverines. Nice pass to Caleb. The Wolverines are rolling. The Wolverines.
Well, it just shows you how statistically dominant the Wolverines have been all year. And one key point there is that shooting 47% from three-point range, that forces the defenses to extend themselves, and it makes it a lot easier on the big people inside to get the ball.
Morgan back in the ball game for Virginia. This is Crotty. To Daniel, back to Morgan for 3. Still has not gotten on the board.
Substitution for UVA.
Morgan now 0 for 6.
Well, we mentioned that Richard Morgan is an emotional player, and as he ran past us, you could see him with that frustrated look on his face. He doesn't know what's happening now.
Matt Blunden comes back into the ball game, replacing Jeff Daniel for Virginia. Wolverines with their biggest lead of the afternoon, 13.
See, Virginia's still in there boxing one with Morgan guarding Rice. And as you mentioned before, Tim, that may be a problem for Richard Morgan on the offensive end because he's got to work so hard defensively.
Caleb drifts to the left side. Now, Caleb and Robinson are both in the ball game for Michigan. That's a touch by Steve Fisher because you never saw that combination on the floor at the same time with Bill Frieder. Robinson left side, tough shot, and he hits it. More still scoreless. 4:30 remaining in the first half. Hughes' shot is for two, and it's a 10-0 Michigan run. Turnover number 6 for Virginia.
See Terry Holland calling out the defenses. And what Virginia is now playing, to a certain extent, they were playing a diamond in one, which is about the same principle as the boxing one, but it doesn't seem to be helping.
Big rebound by Dabbs. Virginia a little bit unraveled right now. Dabbs will fire for two. And Virginia needed that bucket badly.
And they did, and the funny thing is they didn't get it into their control, out of their control offense, but they pushed the ball up. Maybe they'll find the key to pushing the ball. Rice falling away.
He's now 8 of 9. Richard Morgan breaks the ice and is finally in the box score.
Number 24, Sean Higgins.
36-22 Michigan. We have 3 minutes and 39 seconds remaining in the first half. Rupp Arena, more than 22,000 here. Tim Brandt and Len Elmore with you. Michigan has been controlling the tempo. Rice has been red hot. And to this point, it's been mostly Michigan.
And Virginia's been unable to put the ball in the basket and unable to control the tempo. Michigan on a number of fast breaks has gotten a lot of people open, and they've just used their inside ability, their height advantage, to their best advantage here.
Virginia switches its defense to a man-to-man. Higgins, jump hook. It's good, and he's fouled.
And when we talk about the height advantage, again, we've got 6'9" Sean Higgins shooting over 6'4" Richard Morgan.
The foul is on Morgan.
Well, Glenn Rice knows when to shoot it and when to give it up. Recognizing the height advantage, 5 inches, Sean Higgins just takes a nice jump hook after a fake over Richard Morgan. And Michigan's been doing that all day, recognizing when they have the advantage, when they have the open shot.
Parade and McDonald's High School All-American, originally signed with UCLA, but said he was coerced into it by his mother. He got out of that and signed with Michigan. Good look at Bo Schembechler in the stands. Morgan. Oh, what a shot. They only gave him 2. He started within the arc. By the time he came down, he was outside the arc. They'll stop the game, and they'll correct it. It is 2, as we said, but they put 3 on the scoreboard. So they'll take a point off. It's 39-24 Michigan. No question he started within the arc, but he was falling way away. Rice turns it over for the Wolverines. That's only the 3rd turnover for Michigan.
Now that Richard Morgan is hot, look for Virginia to go to him a little bit more. He's got the feeling he's going to demand the ball.
Crotty is open for a 3-point shot. Can't go. The rebound, no. Mills for Michigan, and he loses it out of bounds. At the conclusion of today's NCAA tournament game, we will select the Chevrolet players of the game. In conjunction with the award, Chevrolet will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of both schools. 2:25 remaining in the first half. The freshman stiff in the paint is fouled. And Hughes does not believe it.
But Brian Stiff at 6'5", You know, he's in a forest right now with Mark Hughes, who had both hands up. And Hughes at 6'8", obviously is bigger and stronger than Brian Stith, and Stith is still willing to battle.
They called Hughes for the push-off, but it looked as if Stith's feet slipped, and he went down uncontested.
Well, it still is pretty warm in here, and the perspiration is dripping freely. I think the officials would be well advised to keep an eye on the sweat dropping onto the court, because there will be some slippery spots.
Brian Stith, valedictorian of his graduating class last spring, two-time Virginia AA Player of the Year, cannot hit the free throw. 2:15 remaining in the half. It's 39-24 Michigan. The winner goes on to Seattle. They call it on Blunden for bumping and grinding against Mills. That'll be the first on quarterback on the football team.
London is first.
Well, Virginia has recognized that their diamond and one, their boxing ones just don't work against Glenn Rice. So they've gone back to their basic defense, and that's man-to-man. But again, it creates an advantage inside, and Blunden's got a battle inside against the bigger and stronger Terry Mills.
I'm not sure anything could work against Rice the way he's been shooting. This is Mills on the baseline. Inside to Hughes, who can't get the shot to go, and Hughes fouls Dabbs.
Well, nice defensive job by Brent Dabbs. He really never left his feet and created an obstacle to Mark Hughes. Now, Hughes should have made that shot, but Dabbs stayed in without creating a foul and got fouled himself on the rebound.
Michigan is over the limit. That's the second personal, as you saw on Hughes.
Dabbs will be at the line.
Steve Fisher, the interim head coach, 3-0 as a head coach at Michigan, making a strong claim for the full-time job. Dabbs at the line with 2 points, 9 rebounds. Hughes sits out. So on the floor right now is Mills, Higgins, Caleb, Griffin, and Rice for Michigan.
And going back to the comments for Steve Fisher, you think about this is an opportunity for him to leave his mark on Michigan basketball. People kind of question his inexperience in NCAA play, but he's 3-0. He made some key decisions against one of the best coaches of all time, Gene Smith, in their North Carolina win. And, you know, he's arrived, and I'm sure he wants to stay.
1:40 remaining in the first half. This is Caleb of Michigan. Higgins for 2. It's 41-25. Wolverines.
And you just got a shot of Terry Holland in the top left corner of your screen, putting both hands out, more or less to say, settle down, fellas, settle down. And that's what Virginia's got to do. They've got an offense that they can work. They've got Richard Morgan, who can hit the baskets. What they've got to do, though, is run their offense and execute.
It's 41-25 Michigan with 1:20 remaining in the first half. Morgan fires for 3. Rice. And Caleb takes his time down the left side. Hughes has it blocked by Stith, and they'll call the foul on the freshman. If you're just joining us, Richard Morgan, who had 66 points in the first 2 tournament games, 25 points against Oklahoma, is now just 2 for 11 from the field. He has been extremely cold. Consequently, Virginia has not been able to generate much offense, and it's 41-25 Wolverines. Sean Higgins, 77% free throw shooter, and he bangs that one in.
Substitution for Virginia. Into lab number 24.
Castro will come in for Stith for Virginia.
Brian Stith.
And that substitution kind of shows one of the weaknesses of the Virginia team. They've got to replace Brian Stith, an excellent inside player, offensive rebounder, with Dirk Castro, who's a perimeter shooter. And they really don't have an awful lot of people to go to. Curtis Williams, who is a good inside player, has been injured.
Higgins now for his second shot. Did you play with his dad, Earl? His dad was in the NBA for a while. Played at Eastern Michigan.
Well, Earl Higgins played for the Indiana Pacers, but I got there maybe after he had left. But the fact of the matter is, kind of makes us both feel old when you know guys who are somewhat contemporaries now have sons playing big-time college basketball. At least I feel old.
Terry Holland getting a instruction from the official as to what happened there. Blunden lost the ball out of bounds. It'll be Michigan basketball. This is Higgins. It's 3 points if it goes. Under a minute to play in the first half. Shot clock at 30. Morgan way out front working against Higgins. Blunden tries to get it inside the Dabs and throws it away. Virginia's way out of sync.
That was a case of Matt Blunden trying to do too much. He didn't have really an opening there, and yet he tried to force it. That's been Virginia's problem. They get this far behind. Now everybody wants to try to pick up the slack. They have to do it as a team.
Steve Fisher tells his team to play for one. You see the clock and the time remaining in the first half. Caleb to Rice. Off-balance shot, and he banks it in. Oh, my. Biggest lead of the game for Michigan. That's the end of the first half with the score, Michigan 44, Virginia 25. CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA basketball championship. Virginia traditionally has not been a good come-from-behind team.
Well, they just don't have the tools Virginia does. You take a look at Glenn Rice, and he looks the same as he did in the first half. He probably has a feeling. But talking about Virginia, they don't have a firepower, particularly from inside, to be able to draw the fouls as well as score, and they're not a great pressing team. So they're going to have difficulty coming back from this deficit.
Virginia's biggest comeback this year was an 8-point deficit to the University of Maryland, won that one in overtime. This is Stiff. It's Crotty, Stiff, Blunden, Dabbs, and Morgan on the floor for Virginia. It's a man-to-man Wolverine defense, and this is Morgan. Still can't get it to go. Rebound Mills for the Wolverines. Griffin, Rice, Mills, Vaught, and Robinson on the floor for Michigan. Rebound Stiff. Crotty has to come back and get it. Morgan will fire for three. Fight for the rebound, Blunden. And they'll reset the offense.
Well, it's a good decision by Virginia. There's still a long way to go in this half, but they know they have to execute. Even if they reset their offense, they've got to get into it quickly.
Stiff falling away, can't hit the shot. But he's fouled by Rice, and that's his first.
And Brian Stiff a little frustrated because he only got maybe 3 shots in the first half. Right away, Virginia knows they're going to have to make Glenn Rice work a little bit on defense. That's a good way to stop a hot shooter.
Morgan will get a break. Katstra comes back in, so they sit Morgan down very quickly. He's 0 for 2 this half.
Stiff will be at the line. He'll shoot 2.
At the line is Brian Stiff. He's a 78% free throw shooter, just a freshman. Lost part of his front tooth when he was playing Providence in the first round. Then jammed a thumb in the second round, but he is a tough young man. And he makes the first one.
Well, we mentioned that he's the heart of the Virginia offense, and he does so many things well for them. But most importantly, he's a great offensive rebounder who has a good nose for the ball when it comes off, and he's only 6'5".
Turnover to Virginia, and with it, Brian Stiff surpassed Ralph Sampson as the all-time leading freshman scorer at UVA. Blunden down in the paint, back out to Crotty, over to Katstra. His shot is short, and Rice pulls the rebound. Virginia in a man-to-man defense. They've tried several different schemes to stop Rice in this ball game. Here's Rice for 2.
And he just doesn't quit. He came off that pick so cleanly. I wonder why Virginia now is not switching off outside. Rice is unstoppable. They've got an opportunity to stop some people inside. Let's switch out a little bit and see how Michigan adjusts to that.
The Big Ten Player of the Year now has 23 points. Crotty way out front for Virginia. The Wolverines are 18 minutes away from Seattle. Dabbs Dabbs inside.
Basket.
And that's an excellent job by John Crotty to recognize the defense. Michigan was switching. Dabbs' man stepped out to help out on the jump shooter. Dabbs was wide open. He didn't see the ball, and John Crotty kept yelling at him until he did and got him the ball.
Dabbs, who has had several knee operations, including one in October, came away from that limping. Robinson's shot is for 2. The lead was 19 at the half, and it remains that way. Crotty to Stiff. Katstra is a long-range shooter, and Morgan has been so cold that he's now sitting on the Virginia bench. Stiff will fire for 2. He can't get it to go. Rebound, Mills. Nice pass underneath the Vaught. And Vaught converts.
Well, that's the leading field goal shooter in the Big Ten. And you see with a nice little jump hook in there why. He's always close to the basket.
The biggest Wolverine lead of the afternoon. Crotty. Cavaliers can't buy a basket. Robinson pushes it up quickly. Could almost be playtime for Michigan. Unusual to see Rice miss like that. Crotty with the rebound. Missed the layup. I say unusual for Rice. He's 10 for 12 from the field. Mills.
Such a nice touch by Terry Mills. A lot of people were disappointed with his play inside as he started his career. He was one of the top high school basketball players in the country a few years ago. But he knows that he was at one time a perimeter player. He feels that he doesn't have to play to anyone's potential except his own. And he knows that he can go out and do the job. Nice shot by him on that last possession.
The foul is on Katstra, the man who just made that reverse layup at the other end.
Well, it's still a little rough inside. You see Glenn Rice, he's really trying to get to a position there, and Katstra is trying to deny the position. Someone's got to put pressure on him and stop Glenn Rice. Kastra's done the best that he could.
London sits down for Virginia. Curtis Williams comes in for the Cavaliers. A 21-point lead for the Wolverines. And this time they stop playing so Katstra can get squared away with Rice. Rice got poked in the eye, so Castro apologizes. Don't forget, coming up next out in the Mile High City, the West Region Final between UNLV and Seton Hall. That's a doubleheader day here. Coming up next on CBS Sports. Here in Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, 15:30 remaining in the ball game. It's a 21-point Michigan lead. This is Rice with the turnaround jumper. Stiff with the rebound. And Rice comes right back, gets it at the other end, and gets hit in the face again.
Tim, you see back, well, actually for the first time in the game is Curtis Williams of Virginia. He's there to add some inside muscle for Virginia.
Fought with the shot for two. Steve Fisher, the interim head coach, making a strong bid for the head coaching job at Michigan. Casper's shot rolls around the rim, followed by Dabbs. Going to call the push-off on Stiff. That'll be the second team foul against Virginia, and the third on Stiff.
Foul is on Rice.
Very physical second half, and I'm not sure that it's not because of the frustration from Virginia. They'll pull Rice away as Rice and Stiff go face-to-face. And there's timeout on the floor with 14:47 remaining in the ball game. There has not been a question since the 5-minute mark of the first half. This man is going to the Final Four. That's it. The Michigan Wolverines move on. The first team into Seattle in the Final Four. 102-65 as Steve Fisher, the interim head coach, moves on. Michigan becomes the first team in. Seton Hall and UNLV will follow this. They're up next out in Mile High City of Denver, Colorado. 102-65 Michigan. Right now, let's go to New York and Jim Nance. Jimmy?
And now here to Lexington with a purpose, and we're as proud as could be of all these kids for the way they focused and hung together and achieved.
Angie, should he be the next head coach at Michigan?
I'm prejudiced.
Mark, can you say anything about your dad and what a job he did?
Yes, Mark. I thought he did a great job.
All right, Len.
I want to grab the senior. Yeah! Glenn Rice first. Fellas. Let Glenn speak a little bit. This is, you know, his finest hour. And Glenn totally dominated out there. The team as a whole dominated out there. I mean, did you expect an easy win?
Well, I was telling all the fellas last night that I think if we'd have came out and played the way that we were capable of playing, that we could get anything accomplished. And tonight, that's what we did. We played the way we were capable of playing, and we got it accomplished.
30, Glenn Rice. How 31? At 31.
Well, we've been working all year to get to where we are now, and it's time for us to go all the way now. I can tell the fellas, don't stop now.
Yeah, boy. Steve, what are your thoughts now as you head to the Final Four?
Well, we told them after Carolina when they walked out of the locker room to focus on Virginia. I think we're going to take a good long hour or two in that locker room as a group and on our way home on the plane and enjoy the victory we got tonight and then prepare to play whoever we'll play.
The first interim head coach ever to go to the Final Four. Congratulations.
Well, I guess you're right.
Right now, let's go out west. Denver, Colorado. Dick Stockton and Phil Raptor standing by.